Alright guys, welcome back again to another exciting one. So right now we want to start working on the software that we are going to be using to build our website, and that's Elementor Page Builder. So let me navigate back to home page. Don't want to make things complicated right now. Let's just click on this W icon, and we're going to log in into the home page section. So this home, the pages section, right? So this home, just click on home. So when you click on home, it's going to take you to the home page box, so where you can start designing. So it's going to give you a pop-up icon, like a button at the top that you should edit with Elementor. So just click on it. That's just what you need to do. You can see this edit with Elementor. So when you click on edit with Elementor, you can see Elementor is loading right now. So Elementor is going to load for some few seconds, and you are going to see it in there, like how Elementor looks like. All right, so it might sound a little bit complicated, but trust me, just follow along. I don't expect you to watch this video one time and start understanding every single thing inside of it. At least you should watch the video like 2 or 3 times before you get used to the whole environment. All right, so this is the pop-up you're going to see when you start working. So all you have to do is just to you're going to see this close. This one is just trying to let you know how to unlock the power of Elementor AI. So you can try to use Elementor to boost creativity and productivity with AI generated container, like build layout from scratch or existing Elementor container. AI is very powerful in this. This is a new, let me say, features that Elementor is now using for you to be able to build very quickly. All right. So what we're going to do right now is that you are going to, click cancel this, and this navigation you don't really need right now. Just close it. This is what you're going to see, right? So how can you start designing? All right, the first thing you need to pay attention to is that you need to create container. So all our images, text, media, whatever button is going to be resided inside container. But before I proceed, let me break this then down for you. You can see from the left hand side like this, you can see layout. Just shrink it. Right, you see that we have layout. You can see basic, shrink it. You can see pro, shrink it. You can see general, shrink it. You can see Elementor kit, shrink it. Elementor kit header and footer, shrink it. Jack, shrink it. I'm gonna just explain everything what it means. So what you're gonna have, just ensure that whatever you're using, that is what you need to open. Don't just open all the tabs. It's really confusing and probably might get lost and not to try to figure out what you pick. So let's say, for instance, you want to work on layout, your design layout. Just click on this drop down. So when you click on this drop down, just double click or drag. So when you double click or drag, you can see when I double click, you can see that this thing gives me a whole picture of the header. So what I'm going to do is I see that once you pick something, what you are picking right at this left hand side is called widget. Okay, so every section has its own widget. Let me Ctrl Z. So when I click on this, all these things contain all these sections. Inside of this section we have widget. So I'm going to be saying all these things are widgets that we use to build our website. They are widgets. So when you see pro, that means you have to purchase the pro version of Elementor. That is why it is locked for you to have access to it. So under general, that means basic thing that you think you need, you just pick it. So on that side, this is locked as well. And we have singles. I think this is locked as well. And we have WooCommerce, Elementor kits. The one that is locked, that means you need the pro version of the plugins before you can make use of it. So what I'm trying to let you know is that we installed Jeg Elementor kit. That means it is here with us to make use of. We have Jeg Elementor kit single post. So we have a whole lot of things in there. Just know that from all this layout, all this group of widgets, you can give a drop down and pick whatever you want to pick. So let me double click again so that you can see what I'm working on. So now you have this, so you can easily give this one minimum height, or probably of something like 500 to make it bigger. So you can see this one is now bigger, but note that we have layout at the top, we have style at the tab, and we have advanced. So all these things are what it does, right? So when you click on layout, we have functions under it. When you click on style, we have functions, some things under it. When you click on advanced, we have some things under it. All right, so that's it. So whatever every widget that you pick, there's going to be 3 tabs at the top, which is the first tab, the second tab, the third tab. All right, so this one deals with the color, and this one deals with more of arranging spaces. All right, so don't worry about that, you're going to get used to it. Let's say, for instance, all these boxes, I want to give it a color, so that means I have to go to styling. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is that under this, you see background overlay, border, and shapes. So just click on this background. So okay, you can see background type. So when you mouse over, it's actually going to tell you, all right, is it classic, is it gradient, is it video, is it slideshow? So imagine if you have a slideshow, like you have images that are changing. So this is where you're going to do that. So let's click on classic. So when you click on classic, you have images down below here, and you have color. So I want to pick color. Let me just click on this. So you can decide to pick whatever color you want to pick. Let's say, for instance, I want to pick black. You can see black showcasing there. So just click on outside the word environment, so that it's going to be removed. So that's it. So don't forget, at this bottom, you are going to update. Now imagine if I want to probably give this thing a text, all right? And I want that text to be inside this box. You see this plus, you can click it. So when you click this plus, all right? So when you click this plus, or click at this top, let's see which one. All right, let's just click this top. All right, don't know what's going on, I think. Hold on a sec. All right, I think let's do it this way. Since we have our group, so we can easily come straight down there and say you want to pick a text. All right, so you can click on general. So when you click on general, let's click on basics. So when you click on basics, you can see header, and just drag that in and put it at the center. So when you do that, you can see everything has been totally displayed right in there. So what I'm going to do right now is that since you have this is the text, you can probably do something with the text. Maybe just come to style and give that text a color of white. That's just it. And you can move that text down, you can increase the size, you can do a lot of things in there. So what I'm going to do right now is that when I click on style, I can easily come to typography. So typography is where you work on the font size, the font family size, font size, weight, transform, a whole lot of stuff. All right, so I don't want to do more of theory, but just pay attention. You need to really pay attention to this, because this is the genesis of the whole thing that you're going to be working around with. So it can take some few more minutes than before. All right, so you can easily increase the size. You can see I'm increasing the size. So I can say welcome. So I can easily come to context and change this right up to welcome. Welcome to. You can see highlight. So when I do this, how can I bring it down? So you can easily click on this style and click on this advanced. So now we have spacing. Anytime you're working around your web development, you have the spacing from the outside and spacing from the inside. So spacing from the outside is margin. You can see that you have welcome and you have the box that is surrounding this, but inside that box you have your welcome. That is padding, spacing from the inside. So, but outside this box, you have something at the top that is spacing from outside. So, if you are spacing, you have the left, the right, the top, and the bottom spacing. So, let's say, for instance, you want to space this top. That is spacing from the top, right? But the outside. So, you want a space from this top, all right? So, that means you are going to go with margin. So, ensure that you unlink this if you don't want whatever you are going to be applicable to all of this. Just want from the top. So just type 20. Let's see how it goes. So when you type 20, you can see that there's a space from the top. All right. Let's see. Now, what I'm saying is this. Now look at this. You have a layout. You pick a text inside of the layout. So you click this icon and say, you know what? I want the space 20. You can see. I want the space 60. You can see. I want the space 100. You can see that's 1000. I want space 100. You can see. All right, if you want the space down, you can easily do that as well. Let's say 20. Bottom. Let's say 50. All right, you have a space. So okay, so but padding is a space within. So let's say you want just 50, 30, you can see you have a space within as well. All right, so understand that padding and margin is very important. Okay, so now once you do that, you understand how to change the background color. You understand how to bring a text. Let's say for instance, if you want to bring some more text under here, you can easily do that by saying you want text box. Just drop your text box in there. All right, so when you drop your text box in there, you can easily do the style, give it a color of white. Yeah, you can click on any outside of the environment and give it a size. You can see, and there's one thing, we have line height and letter spacing. Line height, let's see height, what it means. You can see, but if you say letter spacing, let's see what it is. Letter spacing is spacing between the letter, and line height is working on the line height of the text. All right, so you can see this one is down below here. You can easily move it up if you don't want more space by coming to advanced and go to margin and reduce negative so that it's going to be moving up. You can see. So we say welcome to highlight, and you have a whole lot of text, which is a dummy text, which you can literally change later by clicking on these and going to layout and type whatever text you want to type in there. All right, so let's say for instance you just want a button as well. So you just come to this top, and I think you are going to find it, layout and basics is quite very useful. So I think just drag that button, drop it in there. Lovely. So this particular button that you see, can give it a color. Probably, let's see if I can give it a color of something like styling again. If you want to give it a color, click on this color, and probably let's see if you can give it something like orange. All right, so if you give it something like this, you can come back to content and tell your size that you want your size to be large, you want your size to be medium. All right, let's put it large. And I think and that's it. So if you want to put it, let's put it medium so that it's going to look more cool. So you can see, but this click here, you can say contact us or give it a name, like changing this text to learn more. All right, so when you say learn more, just update. So when you update, that's it. So when you update, you can easily start working on some other things. So now what I'm trying to say is that you understand how to change the background color, you understand how to put heading, increasing the size, working on text box, dragging image, dragging button, and give it a name. So that is the foundation. So once you're able to do this, practice this and try not to watch the video, practice it again. I think you will be able to understand how to make use of widgets. So now if you're making use of widgets, how can you now work more on layout? That is another question. So I'm going to close this again. I'm going to say, you know what? I want container. So if you're working on widget, that means working on text, working on button, working on color, working on heading. That's what I showed you, right? So, but sometimes I want to work on layout, and this might be a little bit boring right now, but just understand it like it is. You're going to see the full fresh practical aspect, but it's the must for you to understand its flows. So this particular container, you can have another container inside of it. So container is now divided in, categorized into two. We have the parent container and the child container. All right. So parent container is the one that is housing all other container. All right. So let's say, for instance, I want to give this thing something like maybe 500 as well, or 600. Let's say 600. You can see I have more container. I have a wider space right now. So imagine I now click this plus, it takes me back to how to use container again, and I'll drop this another container inside this container. So when you mouse over on it, you see this kind of pink line surrounding the entire container. But when I mouse over on this as well, you can see that this is another container, housing it in gray color. So but this particular container, I want to work on it. So when you come to layout, you can see style, you can see advanced. So when you come to first layout, you can easily change the size to probably, let's give it 200 pixel. All right, so you can see I give it 200 pixel. All right, that is the width. All right, So now it can't show 100% until you give it a full width. Right, let's give it a full width. So when you give it a full width, then you can change it to pixel. Then you can now change it to 200. So it's better for you to do it this way so that you'll be able to have control over it. Click on this drop down, change it to pixel, make the container width to be full width and give it a width of 200. Now you have control over your inner container, which is the child container. All right, you can easily give this thing color by coming straight down to style. I like black. All right, it's a mature color. Let's give it a black. I see this thing gives me a black color. All right, so then you can easily duplicate this. Let's duplicate it. Right click, duplicate. Right click and duplicate. Yeah, just understand what I'm saying now. So now this is the parent container and you have 3 child container inside of it. Now, but those child container we have, it is covering the top and we have more space at the bottom. What if you want equal space between the top and the bottom? So there is another thing you need to pay attention to, and that's justifying the content. All right, so if you want to justify the content, you can see start, you can see center. Let's click on center. Let's see what will happen. So if you click on this, let me say if you click on this container, right, and click on justify content center, right, let's see what will happen after that. I'm trying to click it right now. I'm trying to look at what exactly is going on. So if you are not seeing results, then the best thing is to right click on that thing and click on edit container so that it too be there. So let's click on justify content center. You can see it shares the space at the top and at the bottom, equal space. So sometimes if you are working on, because we are going to be working on container inside container, the best thing is to right click on the container you want to have control over and click on edit. All right, so another thing I would like to tell you is that once you justify content center, what if you want to justify content end? You can see what if you want to justify content start, justify content center. I think this is cool. Now you now know what justify content really means. It's either you have more space down, you have more space between top and bottom, and you have space at the top. So let's put it at the center. Just follow along with me. All right. So now another thing I would like to explain to you is aligning item. So you can align item at the start and align item at the center. Let's see if I align item at the center. You can see this thing deals with the horizontal, while this one deals with the vertical. So this one shifts from left, center to right, and this one shifts from top, middle to bottom. Justify shifts from top, middle to bottom, and align item shifts from left, center to right. Okay. So now that we successfully understand that, what else do we need to do? Now, you can probably work on directions. All these things, content, Elementor see it as item. So let's work on the direction of the item. All right. That's why I said it's going to be a little bit longer. So, all right. So let's work on the item. So you can see now that I have 3 square boxes. But if this space is too much, I really want them to be together, or I really want to increase more space, I can say 0. You can see, and I can say 50. You can see, so I can control the space right on the gaps. So you've understand a whole lot of things right now. You've understand justifying content, aligning content, creating gaps, what is child container and what is parent container. All right, so let's now pick something, probably a widget. I want to put it inside this container. So we're going to pick button. I'm going to drag it straight down in there. So once the button is here, you can do a lot of things with the button, right? Okay, so by the time you click here, you can give it a space. You can do whatever things you want to do with it. All right, let's say for instance I want to come to advanced and I want that button which I'm clicking, which is inside the container, I want it to have margin at the top and margin at the bottom. So let me click on this left and click on 20, and also click on 20. You can see that there is a space around it. You can easily click on 30. At the same time, I can click on 30 here as well. All right, you can see that the button is floating very well. All right, this is where I'm actually going to stop on Elementor Fundamentals. This is what I really want you to pay attention to. Paying attention to how to manipulate the widget and paying attention to container and how to create container inside of container. And even if you have child container, you can still drag your widget inside of it and makes a whole lot of things happen. All right, hope you find this really interesting. I know it might be a little bit complicated now. Take your time, watch this video like 3 or 4 times, practice it all and all over again. Don't jump into building, just understand this fundamental. And I'm assuring you that if you can master this fundamental, it's going to be very easy for you to start designing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy designing.